Committee. We're calling this session to order. Tonight we're joined by our district manager, Nico Stan. Before we jump in, I want to just recognize it's Holy Thursday, the Holy Week. We had Passover last weekend, and it's the holiday weekend. So do our level best to get us through the door. Before we begin, a few ground rules. One, no one may speak until granted the floor. Two, CB11 members get a question about board business or wish to make a motion. Please raise your hand here in the room or through Zoom. Three, the chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to technical difficulties. Four, when a member is looking forward to speak, I will identify you. You can unmute yourself so that you can speak. Five, please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. And with that, we will now call the roll.
Committee members, when I call your name, please answer present. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Then Briha.
Present.
Rosa Diaz. Jessica Elliott.
Present.
Nelson Obama.
Present.
Asher Rodriguez. David Santiago.
Present.
Isaac Scott.
Present.
Anne Marie Valdez. Jason Villanueva. Michelle Washington.
Yeah.
Slide everything down a little bit. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, we have.
Too far from our window.
Asher marked as excused. Okay, Asher said he should be marked as excused.
Yeah, Asher's excused because Asher's attending in the.
Okay.
For our bylaws, yeah. There, that's yesterday. Okay, with that, just a moment. Okay. All right, the agenda for tonight's meeting is distributed ahead of time by the board office. It's posted online. If there are no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you wish to object, please raise your hand.
Oh, is this about the minutes?
No, it's about
Oh,
the.
sorry, the agenda. Okay, I only have.
Seeing no objections, the minutes were submitted around. If there are any objections or clarifications, please raise your hand. Yes.
Just wanted to note that we didn't receive the minutes until 6 hours before this meeting. I personally don't agree with the minutes as written. It's like a recount from only one person's perspective. And I think that we need more time to make sure that there's an accurate reflection of the minutes.
The minutes were redrafted twice because unfortunately it got deleted from the drive. I'm trying to figure that out. I pulled most of this actually from the transcript. So I'm pleased to table this and we can address it later.
Great.
But that was pulled from the transcript, a lot of the commentary. So motion to lay that on the table. We can review the next month. Moving on, we have announcements. As stated last month, the elections committee will convene. I just conferred with Nilsa. The 3 members of the last election committee were Nilsa, Isaac Scott, John Green, and Jordan Wright, who is no longer with us. I'll be assigning a new board member so they can be mentored and learn a little bit about our elections process. And that will pertain to our treasurer, assistant treasurer, and assistant secretary role. Also, 2 other announcements, which will fall under new business, is the formation of our bylaws committee, which will be declared in full business. Any other announcements? Okay. Moving forward, presentations and discussions. We have liquor licenses and roadways cafe and licenses. We have Milagro Grill Inc. doing business as on Milagro Restaurant and Grill, new vacation beer and wine license. For roadway cafe license for restaurant located 209 East 116th Street, New York, New York. 3rd Avenue. They did not submit their documents to support their SLA 30-day notice and no 311s. Anything else, Angel?
I don't have anything. So we have some guests on. I don't know which of the guests represent which organization. So before you go to each item, if you could just ask if anyone from those applicants is present in case they want to add.
Is Miriam Manoleos, are you with El Milagro?
They have not. Oh.
David Garnello, are you with El Milagro?
No, no.
Miriam, okay, so.
Make a motion to deny.
Okay,
Who is denying?
Motion 9, second.
Milagro?
Yeah, they don't have it though.
Second,
Second.
Jose, all those in favor?
Alright.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Tim Tilling Corp. doing business as La Cocina de Mama, new application for a roadway cafe license for a restaurant located at 154 East 109th Street, Lexington Avenue. The applicant has agreed to operate a sidewalk cafe no later than 10 p.m. as stated in the stipulations below. And
Could I ask a question for reference? Why is this here in executive and not at committee?
So, as was explained to me, my angel is that the roadway cafes are overseen by DOT. DOT only gives us 30 days to review, correct? So when the application came in, the clock had started.
And what about these liquor licenses? They just missed,
There's so many.
yeah, so. Can I speak to that?
Yes, would you please?
So I added this to the email, but I'm pretty sure I did. But I'll remind you guys. So, for the dining out NYC program, which DOT now manages and governs the sidewalk cafe and roadway cafe license process. There is a 30-day review for roadway and 45-day review for sidewalk. We do not have a procedure in place yet for reviewing these kinds of applications. The challenge with the roadway is because it's 30 days, depending on when we receive it, we can't go through a regular committee, then full board, ratification process. Additionally, the review criteria that DOT will accept comments on is very limited. It's not like what we typically comment on liquor licenses, for example, where we're concerned about operations and hours and that kind of thing. So for roadway cafe, for sidewalk cafe, all they're looking for is comment on essentially the geography or of like where the thing is placed. You have a right, through these programs for the roadway cafe to take up the space directly in front of your business. So like if it was directly in front of the community board, it would just be the width of our business, of our storefront, or any wider to the left or to the right. So typically it's a parking space or so. The same thing for the sidewalk cafe, it can only go the width of your storefront. So to answer Adam's question about the liquor license, why that one's here, because we also had an application for a roadway cafe, and at the time of the licenses meeting, they were not ready with their liquor license materials. I suggested to Xavier that we push their liquor license review till now. Because what we can weigh in on with a new business is via the stipulation form that we have in place for liquor licenses and for any external operations, be it a sidewalk or patio or whatever. In the stipulation form, we have a condition where we limit operations until 10 o'clock. So that gives us a bit of power when it's a new license to memorialize that in the recommendation that we issue to the SLA, and the SLA will respect that at the new level. So my suggestion was to let's do these at the same time so that we don't lose the opportunity to weigh in on this new business before they're granted their liquor license without us having a comment on it. And at the same time, memorializing the time of operation. Per DOT's process, DOT was a bit resistant to community board input when they were designing the rules for the dining room program. And as such, they will allow a roadway cafe or a sidewalk cafe to operate until midnight. So if we don't have a rule in place, they'll keep going outside until midnight. So since it's been our kind of priority, it's very, very important to this board to have that 10 o'clock cutoff. Now we're gonna be seeing all these businesses that had operations, outside of their storefront coming to us because they have to get a new license to comply with the new program. So it gives us another opportunity to memorialize that 10 o'clock.
This is the one that's on the street, correct?
Yeah, the roadways are on the street. And the sidewalk cafes are on the business.
But they provided all the materials, yes?
For the second one, so for Santillan B, El Paso C, and Vidigal D, they all provided all their information. And they provided a signed stipulation form agreeing to the 10 o'clock.
Sounds good. Entertain a motion?
Give me 1 second, I'm just curious about this bottling one. Not my neck of the woods.
Are there any questions?
Oh, I know what it's not, okay. And there, so everything from B to E is complete and with the 10 o'clock, right? Okay, I'll give a motion to approve.
Is there a second, Michelle? All those in favor? Any opposed? Extensions, the motion carries. El Paso Restaurant, both doing business as El Paso, having an application for a Roadway Cafe license, restaurant located at 6497th Street, Park Avenue, and agrees with stipulations. Any questions?
I thought we did we bundle them?
No, we just didn't.
Oh, I thought we bundled it. Yeah, my motion was a bundle.
Your motion was a bundle.
Yeah.
All right, then. And they all carried. I will recognize them.
Cause they had all their information in, everything was.
Okay, well, let me be,
We'll make sure everyone.
all right, then let's recall it just in case it was not clear to me. So there's a motion to bundle B, C, D as an approval, correct?
And E,
And E.
I said B to E.
Okay, is Michelle? Yes.
But we are using the stipulation form so that we
That has
can
been
make sure
signed.
that we're gonna, okay.
One of them. Is this temporary? What is the timing for this? Is it just in the summertime, fall?
I don't have all the months at the top of my head, but there's a period of time where they have to be off. I can circulate the rules to you.
Great, thank you.
They're very specific as to when they can be.
Okay, we do have one of the applicants, Leo Laura, on from East Harlem Bottling Company.
Nice place.
Can you second it?
I had seconded it, understanding that he had bundled them all
Okay,
together.
okay, thank you all. Finish that. Leo, did you want to say something? Or
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yes,
Okay, I can't see the agenda, so I'm guessing B, C, D, and E is the roadway cafes, is that correct?
You are E and you were
Okay.
approved.
That's what I figured. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. All right. Okay, we now have a vote on the recommendation regarding the proposed Tang Wing for modern contemporary art project in the Public Museum of Arts. The applicant seeks a letter of support from the significant landmarks preservation commission and the Public Design Commission, which was presented to the Land Use Committee in March. The vote is needed out of executive in order to meet the respective imminent health and safety PBC hearing dates. Motion to give them their letter of support. Second, so motion by Adam, second by Jose. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. Review of the draft agenda for full board meeting. It's one of those.
Full board? Somebody, is anybody else saying? No?
I got it.
We have a transportation alternative spatial equity map tool presentation. And our normal business section, we have our liquor licenses. We had a very busy session, Anne Marie.
Yes, we did. Okay,
Housing, again, anything you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, good presentation from both communities. I think they'll be coming back for a letter of support for rehabilitation of the food units. I think they need support from, Councilman Yusuf Salam, so we're gonna hear that out. And then we've been working, me and Angel have been communicating with HPD and making the housing committee aware. We're trying to set up a meeting with the existing buildings that are still like in the till pipeline here with HPD to try to get them, you know, more clarity on like the timeline and their situation moving forward. So, and then I did a walkthrough of East River houses with Teresa Richardson. And she's very active. I was happy to see, like, she's like, no, I mean, she had a lot of work being done there. They're replacing the boilers, they're doing the pointing outside the building, so. You know, I give her credit because she's got more energy than I do. It's a very nice walkthrough, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Licenses, so, yeah, pretty full meetings.
Yes, we did, we approved mostly all the licenses, except, I don't think we.
Yeah, you mean just a liquor license?
Liquor license, I think we approved all of them, correct?
I think so.
Yeah,
Maybe one.
You tabled one, which is not here. I think.
Yeah.
right, one, correct, and one of them was that the roadway one that we take?
No, it was a liquor license.
Was it liquor license?
Yeah, we
It
took a
was one
position on the roadway because if we didn't, we would have lost the opportunity.
Correct. And in terms of the activities, street activities, they were all, approved except for
Hispanic Heritage
the
Fest.
Hispanic Heritage Fest. Because, the applicant, Alex Garcia, last year had a meeting with, Veteran, and, told them he would not, apply again,
Mhm.
and he did.
I can, if
You
you
can-
want
yeah.
more information,
Yes.
I see some.
Yeah.
So essentially, there was another applicant, by the name of Diana, and they had, right, and so we had a bunch of meetings off the, I mean, here, but like not during committee meeting, and we made a resolution for them that he would do it last year, which he did, and then she would get it moving forward. But the deal wasn't, if she doesn't do it, you can do it, and there has been some pushback on, there's just too many festivals there, and he already has, I think, 3 a year. And so he just he came in and, he got like offended and this and that, and all I said was like, you had an agreement with the board. And, you know, I think we just have to hold people to the things that we do, so. Yeah, we denied it because, you know, we spent a lot of time making that agreement. Here's the thing. Technically, Diana could still apply, right? I mean, that thing is, the festival's in September and it's for Mexican independence. We still have meetings in May and in June. So how do what if she comes now in May or June and we did all that and now, we're like, oh, sorry, you know, so that was the other reason. So, all right.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yes.
EOSD. Oh, sorry, you had a question.
Comment, because that is my block. And Adam is absolutely right, like, there is a big turnout amongst the neighbors about the number of closings, because I don't think any block gets closed more than that, like that block. This is 116 Second and Third we're talking about. It is like consistently, it is one of our main thoroughfares, and you know, it definitely affects a lot of the businesses when the closing is happening and other such scenarios, but just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
I was just gonna ask, Jose, since you have a business there and that street does mainly get closed a lot of times during the year, especially as each year passes by. You guys really lose business because of that? I think that's exactly.
I mean, my business is a little different because it doesn't necessarily like depend on, I do have people that walk to the base and pick up a cab there, but you know, we tell them, meet them at the corner. People understand that it's closed, right? But other businesses, yeah, it gets heavily improved. Like you have a tremendous amount of food. The biggest businesses in my block are food. And now they're bringing a whole bunch of ton of food in the street, so that means people are eating from the street, not so much from the restaurant. And you're blocking, there's no parking, if you're going to that restaurant to eat, you're not going anymore, it's not your, so it does cause what I would consider like a severe commercial, like.
And it's certainly on weekends, which is.
Yeah,
restaurant
which is
season.
when they're the busiest, when they make their real money. Like again, my business is a little different. You call me from wherever you are. I'll pick you up. And even when they come there, we send them to the corners. But for food, if you own a restaurant and you're paying $7,000-8,000 in rent, which is what most of these restaurants are going for, if they have a good lease. And now you're getting closed maybe 10 times. We're talking about 10 different weekends. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost the entire
Well, it
summer.
all depends on what the block is, for example, if it's a health fair and there's no selling of food,
Yeah,
like.
and I always say, why don't you close 115?
So,
Cause 115 doesn't have a bus, doesn't have all these things that you have to speculate about.
all right, thank you, Jose, for that perspective.
Yeah.
Environment, open space and parks, anything to highlight on our one floor, next thing you said?
Yes, yes, what you said, we have a Earth Day celebration, everyone, conference, but we're going to celebrate our Mother Earth. There's gonna be so much, just a little peek, live fashion show, there's gonna be a chess set pop up that the kids can play or learn to play. There's going to be dancers, there's gonna be so much, please come. We work so hard, thank you. We work so hard. Every single week we've met outside to discuss details, and there's a couple of elected officials that have confirmed. Please join. There's gonna be food. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody's coming now.
Youth and, education. Asher, do you wanna say a few words?
Yeah, we didn't have quorum, so there's not much I could say about that. So that's, yeah. We had a lot of presentations and yeah, so now they're gonna have to all be for next month and maybe even push some people to June.
I'm sorry to hear that, Asher. It's very embarrassing. It happened to me last, month, was it?
Thank you, Asher. Land use, landmarks and planning, Jason is excused right now, he's trying to log in. Yeah. Nelson or
Land
Chris
use?
or down, anyone want to speak on that?
It was canceled.
It was canceled.
I don't know why.
Human services,
So we had, one new presentation from a person, I'm blanking on her name, but she's, the presentation was on an infertility event that's coming up soon. I'm happy to send that around, actually connect all of you, especially the women on this committee, with her, because I told her I'd do that, and connect her with every woman I literally know, and, men too.
Wow.
Because,
Big,
yeah, they claim, I know it was, but I think what she's talking about with infertility and the issue, and the presentation she gave, it warrants that, you know, even if people don't go to the event, at least they just connect with her about the work, and, you know, I think it's just good work. So she came to do a presentation, then we had to return people from the previous month. Argus came back to get their letter of acknowledgement. Emphasis on acknowledgement. They came, they presented, no reason not to give them the letter. They came, they presented. That is what the letter said, that they came and they presented. Also, we had Brother Harris from Power in the Shower come back. So they submitted a proposal to us that they would be using for soliciting funding from other places. And we went through the proposal, gave our feedback on the proposal, and gave them the suggested edits that we want to see. And we ultimately drafted our letter of support for the pursuit of funding to bring power and shower services in East London. So essentially, that was it.
There was, sorry, can I?
Please, if you want to.
There was like a new event. remember?
Oh, you're talking open streets? Yeah, we don't really need to go through that now, but open streets. Oh, Irina, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Walk of Hope. That was the name of the event that is coming up. But I'm actually gonna connect, I'm literally gonna connect all of you guys with her.
Did she come last time to the full board?
Came to full board, yes.
I don't know, so I didn't see her.
Yeah.
Okay,
She did
so
come to
then-
full
okay,
board
so
to make
good.
that note.
Good, yeah. Okay, good, good. Okay, so y'all see, y'all see, I got to hear the presentation and that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta
It's
stop.
also like 2 minutes.
Oh.
Just a 2 minute thing.
Okay, well, she did a whole thorough presentation. I'll send over the PowerPoint and everything. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate you. But yeah, that was all open streets, Rosen. Yeah, so we're waiting for our open streets application to be approved for the summer events. But we will be able to move forward with at least one event we know of on Labor Day weekend, the 24th. So just planning for that. I'm actually going to email community board, period, just as a whole, so that you guys can all weigh in. Any thoughts? We are planning to activate 115th Street between Madison and Park Avenue. That is a block that's not generally sought after in Madison Park. Yeah, so it's Eddie Gibbs block. That block he's on, yeah. It's a lot of activity on
Candy's block.
Candy's block. Yes, it is Candy's block. And Candy will be working with us. Her, we was actually working. I was at the garden today talking to Frank. And yeah, so we're looking forward to that. Planning out the streets. We won't have full closure because that block has a driveway, so we'll get like limited street closure. For the 24th, but Lord willing, if we get approved, that's what it'll be, limited street access. So yeah, because they have the parking lot on the block. But all is well. It's going to be sent. So art and wellness is the topic. We will be exploring the 8 dimensions of wellness. So we'll be looking at wellness in a holistic way. So we won't just be looking at medical wellness in the healthy sense, but physical wellness, emotional wellness, all of those things, the environmental wellness. There's just I'm blanking right now, but there's 8 dimensions of wellness that we'll be going through. Occupational wellness. So there'll be something to capture that. We won't have presentations on each of them, but we will have some folks coming out to do different exercises and breathing techniques, sound bowl, yoga, things like that. And then whatever is not captured in like an activity, it will be provided through like information or some form of presentation. But the goal is to encourage holistic wellness, but also to activate that block. So they have some fun stuff to do because that block is not really, it's not a block that's sought after. La Marqueta is there, and honestly, people on that block feel like they don't get enough events there. They feel like La Marqueta gets all of the events, so they're like, we never get any events on our block. And they're really looking forward to this. So I'm just praying that, all goes well. And yeah, it's gonna be good. So definitely would love to have all you all come out here. I'm gonna definitely pick Anne Marie's brain because they do open streets all the time. So just those little nuances that we may not be looking at will definitely happen. But yeah, we'll see.
Excuse me, thank you. Eco Dap. Okay.
Sorry. It's very interesting. Ego Data. We had a presentation by the African Center. Unfortunately, the new director who requested it couldn't be there, which was Maureen Kimani. However, we had I forget her name, but she's the lobbyist from Bolton St. John, and she was present, and she kind of walked through what they're looking for is a letter of support. So, they're still going through a process of opening and getting all these things done. And obviously, being very interested in having that center vibrant and growing in our community is important to us. So we will bring it up next month and vote on it, as is our typical procedure of listening for this month and voting on the following month. But they did tell us that the new director will be coming next month to give some words as well. And hopefully, the African Center can be vibrant in our neighborhood. We also, since we had we had great announcements from Union Settlement. Let me touch my hand.
Give me your notes there.
So we had Union Settlement. They have a very interesting program that starts this month for anyone that is opening. Violet Moss. Oh yes, Violet Moss. Her name was Violet Moss. And so they have a Union Settlement has a grant, $300,000. They're going to, I believe it's 12 candidates that they'll do for new storefront openings. So there is a process. We're gonna have them more formally at next month's meeting, but this starts now. So I wanted to share it today's executive, so if you're aware of anyone who wants to start a business, there are certain rules and regulations they have to follow, such as having a lease already, and, you know, they don't wanna just, it is a significant amount of money, like it's $25,000. So they are probably following people that are committed, or you could also get that you're in negotiations of a lease, things of this nature. And they're obviously doing this to kind of bring some vibrancy to a lot of what you see around the neighborhood or some closed storefronts, most of them. Because, you know, those rents are getting a little outrageous. I'm not sure if there's gold buried underneath there, but you know, it is very unfortunate. We had a neighbor to the right of me who was, his lease is up and there are no cutoffs for commercial leasing, basically. So if you were paying 5,000, it could be triple. It could go to, you know, and which is an ongoing conversation with different city agencies that has been significant pushback against. Because as you know, for residential, there are definite cutoffs, but currently commercial is just market or whatever is considered market. Because the store to the left of me has been empty over a year, probably two now. What else did we have? Since we had a light agenda, we decided to jump into our favorite budget priorities and district needs. That way, the chair of that committee doesn't start, you know, attacking us in the very near future, as she will most likely do. And it was very interesting to see the responses. We were supposed to have done that back in January, but because we didn't have quorum then, it was canceled. But we are looking forward to engaging. We already reached out to, what was the committee? Cultural Affairs Committee, which was DLCA instead of DCA. There was a little typo there. And we're reaching out to SBA.
Whole departments.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Okay, so your email today, that's what you get. You get your typo for that email. You get your thing back, okay? So. We're looking forward to being active in that regard and making sure they give us responses. We want to bring in the public libraries in because there are significant, and one of them is duplicated, so we want some clarity with that. We also want to change some of the language of the public library, because for instance, 125th Street was already completely remodeled, redone.
Yes.
So like right now, our language is very broad, and we would like to then specify to like Aguilar one, which is still in phase of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're sure that the chair of that committee, the district meeting, is gonna be very pleased with our work in that regard. So, I believe that is everything we had.
Very thorough.
Okay, thank you.
Too thorough.
Yeah.
You're damned if you do.
We did not.
The nominee, so, okay. Executive is happening now. And then public safety and transportation happen next week.
No, it's in the.
Okay, that covers our agenda. Now move along
The matrix.
to board member attendance.
She brought.
Yes, we do have, yeah, we will go to that next to do process hearing for removal of board membership. But first, are there any other members who have been the first poll? I think the only one was.
Can we see it on the screen? It's on the screen, sir. Got a big screen. I use it. Oh, there it is, see? Oh, that's good. I see Rosa's on there now. And I mean, she's on the document. All right, am I on there? Yes, you are.
You're on there.
No, I have one absent. I don't remember being absent. Was I absent last full board?
No, yeah,
I wasn't absent. I was there.
He was there. We saw.
Oh, no, not for full
Weren't you
board.
skiing?
I sat with him over.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was.
You were there. We took.
Oh, I see. That's full board.
And then we got the chicken all over your car, remember?
Yeah. We picked up Judas. That's how I remember.
How could you not?
It was her last meeting, I think. That is our niece Hernandez Foster, Stanley Johnson, Alida,
Wait a minute, am I 6?
no, Justina. You're 0.
No, she's no longer.
A 6 and what we're good. Maybe a short 7.
It's happened, so you know.
That's it?
That's it?
Did we remove Justina?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. she was-
Okay, so we just.
We got
didn't do that.
2.
What about this, oh, no, Alida.
Alida was called in.
Because he's gonna just keep talking.
Yeah, I would like to, it was Jen Mayer was the one last month that went to municipal board for bereavement. You know, it's excused, that was the only other one.
That was, yeah, incorrect.
No, but I mean, it was premature, but
Right.
this month it would be,
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna double check March, cause I'm pretty sure I was there, so we'll find out.
we're gonna do,
March is a long
So
time.
Jen Mayer is the only one who,
oh, what do you want me to do with this?
Vincent,
You want me to keep moving it or
is
just?
Vincent has missed 4,
no, that's Alida.
I believe it's, sorry, it's hard to see.
You need to go to the committees?
Yeah.
Nick, can we see that?
We go.
So it's just full board, right? So
It's
full
full
board, Judith Ferraro has 4,
She's going out.
Sam Johnson's gone.
Sammy Johnson's gone, so we don't have to talk about him.
So, and Justina's already gone.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Justina, you
So
know.
they're just.
This is Alida, so Alida's in there.
Rosa, you do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me talk, keep going.
So is Jen Mayer,
Trying to help you, but.
yeah, it's hard to, it's hard to
Nice to
see
write
from
them.
there. Is Jen Mayer, has she officially missed 4 full board?
No,
She missed, last month. So I remember her,
Bereavement, yes.
It's
just
out of
next
like
week. Yeah.
this week, you know what I mean?
She has
Last
3.
month she did
Okay.
miss.
she's not in red.
But there's some that hasn't been updated yet.
Oh,
I thought she was on the cusp.
She didn't come last.
She didn't come.
Yeah, she didn't come the
Sorry.
first
No, she
one.
didn't.
It was,
She wasn't
sure,
at the
he
last
sent it,
one.
it was only 3.
so
Yeah,
we're not,
it was only 3,
So it was a warning.
it was only 3, and that it was in March that she missed unfortunately due to the loss of her father, so that would bring it to 4. Has March been updated, Angel?
It has not been updated yet, but that is correct. She has 4 now.
Yeah,
officially.
that's one.
So we could take action, that's what I was trying to say, okay. And it would just be to initiate the process to bring her in.
And she's already gotten a warning.
She's on bereavement now, so
Yeah.
she's not gonna probably.
Can we invite her to come after bereavement?
Yeah, I would not ask her to come in during.
I'm pleased to table it to next month.
Yeah,
if everyone
Yeah,
else is.
motion to table like this.
And what about the committees?
Then we're
What
gonna
about
go
the
to next. Next.
Oh, yeah, let's go to the.
Isaac, here.
No, I was gonna, if that motion was being moved
Yeah,
on from the
because-
second.
So-
Yeah, that's my vice chair. I know that she would, she'd be present if she could,
And it-
but on another note though, I would say that, I do need to talk to Jen, cause it's just sometimes she just doesn't show up. So it's like, I know right now she's in bereavement, but she's never let it go this far, so I'll just check. check it.
I mean, no,
Yes.
I would just ask that, because she's your vice chair, I know, like, most of the other people we've been reaching out to for attendance are just quitting immediately, and that's like the wrong way to do this, like, we're not calling you in to remove you necessarily, we just wanna have a discussion, so if you could help to convey that to her,
Yes.
our goal is not to
100%.
remove her.
Yes, I'll be.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
no, honestly.
Yes, Jose, before I go to. the
did
rest
we
of the
do
minutes.
anything with Alida?
She's here for her hearing.
Oh, she's here for the hearing, perfect, that's what I wanted to know.
She's awesome.
Okay, committees, can we go to the committees? Are there any
Yeah.
that have they been updated for March?
No.
So I could that.
We didn't meet.
Yeah, district has not because there was no meeting
Correct.
on April.
Echo Dev, we met.
Oh, March.
For district meetings, no.
No, you said
It was-
Echo Dev.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry, we did have March, we just didn't have April.
I met 2 days ago,
My
but
bad.
All right,
district needs, no one.
next. Nico Dev,
Echo Dev, I have some victims there.
who's that? Jenny?
maybe.
But here you have to check if they're,
Have another one.
according, it has to be on all committees.
On two committees.
Did Shanique-
I will
didn't
say
Shanique
that-
Resign?
Should be- yeah.
That Vinny and Jenny came this month,
So just Benny because, Shanique is no longer with us.
Okay, next.
She's alive, but she's on.
I mean,
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Open space and parks, please.
that was good. All of them are.
Jocelyn Cruz,
She resigned.
resigned,
Next,
executive. Ooh, almost made that list.
Yeah, we're good on executive.
okay, next housing.
Housing is a public member.
I'm really trying that around.
All right, who's that? That's,
Cynthia Ramos,
Okay.
who is from.
she's a.
Yeah, from the. Sure. Human services is good.
Land use.
Oh, wait. Human services, the attendance hasn't been updated, like everyone was. We were like only what, 4, 5 year olds?
Yeah, you're missing April budget, but your numbers are really low, so. I'm not-
Yeah, nobody's gonna listen.
Yeah,
Nobody would have jumped in there.
land use, they're good. Licenses,
Transfer, but it's good.
she's already been removed. And.
She who,
Ooh,
Justina
Justina.
Williams.
oh, ooh, public safety.
This is licensed.
Who's-
Who got 6 like that?
I don't know,
Up
Justina
and
Williams.
oversight, present. Like safety.
On public safety, Jose Altamirano.
Yes.
And the other member was already. resigned.
I do also.
So,
So if you miss one more executive, you're in trouble.
youth and
No, it has to be
education, guys,
alternate.
Papa,
I would-
youth and
I won't-
education,
Okay,
guys,
So I'm on 4.
Rose is speaking, please.
youth and education is just a leader and the other person that was already removed, so that's it. And.
Okay,
Is Alita still on? I thought she got moved off that committee. Didn't,
It
cause I
says
remember
NA means that she was.
Oh, yeah, she's.
she was
yeah,
moved off that
to
committee.
environment, it just needs to be updated.
Yeah, that shouldn't be there still.
okay.
No, it says
All right.
NA.
With that, so there are no other actions we'll take. We've tabled. Jen, we'll bring that up next month after she's returned from agreement.
Yes.
Isaac will follow up. Thank you. We will now move on to our hearing, due process hearing, the removal from board membership. And correct me if I'm wrong, Angel, we need to go into executive session for this, so no.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's hard to
I
do.
think that's.
That's what we.
If there's any personal information, private, financial, or anything like that, then we would, but.
Haven't we typically gone, I mean, I'll motion to go into executive. I second, yeah.
We need to have,
You never know.
we would have the 2 members of the, I know, but still, we would have to have both members of the public just to leave temporarily during our executive session. The reason is we're gonna be discussing private matters, you know, to the board member. Make sense?
I mean.
You wait there, what are we going into executive?
Oh,
for?
can we get you? Not in first.
Yeah, but what are we going into executive?
Did I?
Oh, we going in with her.
For the hearing.
Oh, good. Okay, good. No, I was wondering, I thought we were going in and she wasn't. I didn't know why. Okay, no, that's good.
Grandma. He's like, I'm like, she don't speak English.
So. Punishing people or about being all Opus Day with people at all.
Oh, it's
Just,
recorded.
hey,
Recording.
Recording is in process.
oh, that's.
And you went to be ordered.
We have exited executive session. Motion was made by Del Brio, second by Isaac Scott. We'll now allow the public back into the room. Thank you.
I think somebody got it.
Now I will entertain a motion on the matter of the removal board membership of the chicken bone.
I'll make a motion to remove the leadership.
All right, I don't bring a motion to recommend the removal of the chicken bone. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jose Altamano. All those in favor?
What are we motioning on?
To remove.
The leader.
No.
That is, hold on, let me, any?
Oh, you gotta take a roll.
Yeah.
Roll, please roll call.
We're roll call vote.
We have a motion on the table to remove Alita Chicken Boom. It was made by Dem Brehon, second by Jose Altamirano. We'll take a roll call vote.
Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Yeah,
In favor.
Dan Brehon. Yes. Rosa Diaz, Jessica Elliott,
No.
Nelson Rama,
Yes.
Asher Rodriguez.
Asher's not here.
Oh, no, not that.
You would say yes.
That's not a vote.
I know.
Isaac Scott,
No.
Anne Marie Vasquez,
Same.
Michelle, what's your comment? Chairman Santiago.
Aye. The noes have it.
What does I mean?
Yes.
Yes. Between abstentions and the noes.
Can I mean, I know we're not supposed to ask people, the no's and the yeses, I understand. The abstentions, and correct me if I'm wrong, abstention usually means you don't have enough information to take a position. What information do we not have here right now? I'm curious
So
about.
what about if we don't, between yes and no, it's not abstention?
No.
No, it's not.
I love that question. I love
Abstention
that.
means that there's something that you're missing, like, there's a piece of
I
information
love that.
that is not allowing you to make an informed decision.
I mean,
You may have a reason, I just don't know what it is.
Please read.
Okay.
You can say president.
The motion carries.
So the,
It does not.
Angel, can you explain?
so the, I'm not gonna explain this.
I know what it means. No, I just.
So the-
Angel, please.
Right from here, teach me how to. The yeses were 4, there were 3 noes and 2 abstentions, the motion does not carry.
The motion does not carry. So this will not move out of this committee. So. Means we would have to,
Can we, unofficially collectively note this as Grace? And the next time, granted that she comes, you know, we don't have to go through it.
so what I would say is, no, so what
It's
I would
okay.
say.
The motion didn't pass.
So the motion, so Isaac.
We would have to
What I'm
do it.
saying is
From a
just
parliamentary.
from a,
I wanna make
compassionate.
another motion.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Because I want
Still
to,
here.
I made my comment, sorry, I'm sorry, Isaac, I didn't mean to
You're
interrupt
good,
you.
you're good.
I wanna, in light of my comment about abstentions, and it might change nothing, I wanna make another motion to remove the leadership and boom, and just see now with the new information that maybe some people didn't have. If that changes anything.
But.
They were voting president not voting, to make changes nothing.
The person,
Well,
Angel.
then I'm gonna say something here.
What
If we're gonna abstain from this, then I'm gonna tell you right now, I will leave the room, and that's my right, the same way it's a right to abstain. I will not sit in this room for these attendance tomorrow. You vote no, I respect that. You wanna sit and abstain or even be present not voting after we've spent all this time here, then it's like you have more respect for the people who don't show up than the people that sit in this room with you. Yes or no is fine. Abstention or present not voting on this, I'm sorry, like, what are we doing? So with that said, I make the motion, and you can do what you guys want, but that's the motion again.
So your motion, please.
To remove the
I
leadership.
mean, what was the thing before? We had 2
That-
abstentions.
It was unclear because people didn't understand about the abstention
So
or
I'm
whatever.
gonna get back out there.
And it's fine, I mean, look, it's not,
Guys, so we had this motion, it didn't pass, I will entertain, is there an alteration to the said motion?
Well, we gotta vote again, don't we?
If I have a second, is there a second?
oh, what are we doing, the mo?
Are we doing the
No,
same thing
yeah,
again?
okay.
One,
Nelson's
one
second.
recall, and this is the last time I'm hearing it, so then we're moving. on.
Nelson's second.
Seconded, call the roll, please.
Jose Altamirano.
Yes.
Dan Brennan. Rosa Diaz,
Yes.
Jessica Elliott,
No.
Nelson Rama,
Yes.
Xavier Santiago,
I will wait until the rules, it's just tiebreaker.
Isaac Scott,
No.
Anne Marie Vasquez,
Yes.
Jason, oops. Robot, Michelle, what's your comment?
Yeah.
The motion carries over 5 yeses and 3 noes. Wait, Xavier Santiago.
Aye.
6 yeses and 3 noes, motion carries.
And there's a hand up.
Yes.
My hand is up to just express my extreme disappointment in what feels like folks got either intimidated or bullied into changing their vote. No shots to you, and no shots to anybody who changed their vote, but you voted and then changed your vote. I guess what I'm just looking for is like, can we just stand up can we just like, I don't have no terms for it. That was crazy. Should we do 2 out of 3? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, how does that, I didn't even know we could do that. So I can call a vote, not like how it goes, and then we can call another vote
From a
on the same exact thing without any change.
parliamentary procedure, if there was a lack of clarity in the room.
Was there a lack of clarity from the chairs who don't know abstentia versus non? You understand what I'm saying? So this is the same exact thing I'm talking about. So how can we be compassionate to the ignorance of the chairs, but not be compassionate to the ignorance of the committee members? So with that being said, I'll leave that.
I just wanted.
That was a lot.
I
That was crazy.
I asked if I could do it, and I wasn't bullying anyone. It was clear that people didn't know what they were voting for. I didn't ask anyone who voted no to vote yes. I actually said.
You literally threatened them to leave the room, which would disrupt the meeting.
No, I
if-
meant.
If people didn't vote yes
No,
or
no,
no,
no.
let's just be clear though, you literally said, I'm leaving
How is that
the
a
room.
threat, though, if I leave the room?
Because it's disrupting the meeting.
Guys, please direct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all.
Directed towards.
I'm sorry.
I just wanna say that I did not feel bullied, I did not feel threatened, because that doesn't go with me. And I don't appreciate you saying that I'm ignorant. Because I don't know what abstention means, I was confused with the whole thing that was going on, so that's why I went with abstention, I didn't wanna say yes or no, but I was confused. I know what that means, I'm not ignorant, I wasn't bullied, and I wasn't threatened, that's all I wanna say.
An abstention, for a reminder, everyone here, is you have to have an affirmative vote to carry a motion. It has to be yay. Anything that is a no or an abstain, it gets tallied as a no in accounting purposes. So again, yes, Isaac, please.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that the definition for ignorant is just a lack of knowledge, and that's what was displayed in this room. So forgive me if the words I'm using don't fit what people in the address should. I'm sorry if the words I'm using do not feel right for people personally, but if you look up the word ignorance, it's a lack of knowledge. So I'll reframe the term that I use. It was very interesting to see us show we just had patience for the lack of knowledge that the chairs had, but the lack of knowledge that was expressed by the committee members wasn't honored in the same way. And it's not even maybe not bully. Something happened. Someone said, if you don't vote this way, I'm going to do this. And votes came back around and things changed. So regardless on how people want to articulate that, that's what happened. That's on the record. And that's what I'm talking about is a problem. However you want to defend it or do whatever, it doesn't matter. It happened. You vote one way. Someone says, I'm going to do this. If you don't vote a certain way and you vote differently. That's what happened in this room just now. Regardless on how y'all want to flip it, that's exactly what just happened. We took the exact same vote on. We took 2 votes on the same thing because the first one didn't go the way people wanted. Another vote was taken and people changed their vote. So that's what happened. There was a lack of knowledge that was entertained just now that wasn't entertained earlier.
So to clarify, and I'll go to Emery and then Rosa, we have entertained motions when people were unclear for whatever reason, with understanding with an
The
abstention.
chairs,
When we have entertained whether at full body or at committee level, we have historically.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Right.
Go ahead.
This is a little out of control, suddenly.
Okay, so. Emery.
I just wanna say, it wasn't because of what you said,
I hope not.
right? It was just, at the first roll call, it's just, I got close to her. So I let my personal feelings for her. That way I couldn't say no, I couldn't say yes. But, I think the second roll call is actually
But we're ignorant, Rosa, because if I lack of knowledge, which I don't have lack of knowledge. But, you know, I didn't know what to say yes or no because of what.
How many times have we talked about abstaining? In this board?
I know what it means, it's just,
I know
like
what
my
you said,
personal.
I just said a thing, that's it, if I wanted to say it, I said it, you know.
All right, Neil said, because I'd like to move, make it a lot. We're either gonna follow the rule, like Angel has expressed, we have to follow the rule or not, which is.
Yeah.
I just-
And you wanna put it all on us.
I just wanna say something from my personal point of view, which may not mean a lot, but. This happens because we're not consistent in what we want to do, right, like what we wanna see. I don't think anybody here is ignorant in any definition of the word, right? I think that we need to go back to basics. And I think that we need to make sure that all board members understand, right? Like what it means about present not voting or, you know, because you may have a conflict and you say what the conflict is and so. This is a very passionate discussion because of the person that we were talking about. And so everything that was brought up here, I suggest we take note of it so that we can work towards ironing out things that will make this process easier, more consistent, both for us, right, as the chairs, in a way that works for us, and in a way that we give clarity for the people that are coming, so that they understand, and people when they're first assigned, that they understand all the options to them, because they may apply and then something changes, and then all of a sudden they wanna, so they, you know, they try to be good to both. And then it doesn't work out, and I think that, you know, we need to just like take a step back, because I think we will do good work together and things happen and emotions get high, and that's a testament to how we feel about the community and others. But we just have to remember that we have to show grace to each other in addition to showing grace to others.
Thank you, Nelson, Angel.
Well said.
So, if we're gonna be spending our time, we might as well try to make it productive. So I'm gonna suggest that this evening's conversation and try to learn something from it. There's something that we don't do. That I think may contribute to some of the frustrations that we have from time to time. And that's that we don't direct all the questions at the chair. And we don't all talk one at a time. That can be confusing. Also, the chairs don't restate motions. I'm saying plural, everybody. That would help. It's a simple thing, it would help. In this meeting, in that meeting, in all of the meetings, a committee or full board or whatever. The motion is heard, them made the motion, Jose seconded, motions on the floor to blah, 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 blah. In silence, everybody shut the hell up while Xavier's restating it. And then we vote. So folks, that maybe weren't clear, perhaps are clear, if that was the case. It's not a suggestion. I am pleading with you after 15 years, please do this, because we insist on not doing it that way. And members can have confusion and staff has confusion. We try to help you write your minutes or draft them, and we don't get the motion language clear because y'all mumble stuff out. Or you talk over each other. And it's just kind of, then you're like, oh, Angel, that's not what I said. Yeah, well, it's what everybody said, because there were 10 people talking at the same time. So I got Anne-Marie's first word, Isaac's second word, Jose's third word, and you know, and I have a stew instead of, you know, something else. So that's a suggestion, and you know, if that kind of, you know, talking over each other stuff may have contributed to maybe something not being heard clearly, then perhaps we can take a lesson from this experience, and the next time we allow for the stuff to be stated clearly, so it can be understood. Okay.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on. We have two items remaining this evening, old business discussion, and the bylaws, and new business, which is letter supporting to the rest of our communities. Just as a background, those who can speak to this, they did present at EOSD. But they were unclear that we need a letter, there's a time in this, so we can get this done. We'll now go back to the old business, which is the discussion amending the bylaws. Updates of the officially formed bylaws committee. Okay, and those members I'm going to read out are going to be Adam Brehoff and Kenneth Kraut, who will collectively co-chair this committee. They both agreed to that and wanted to do that together versus just having one or the other. At the preference of Kenneth, given his busy schedule, working for the proper law firm he is, he does want to commit his time. And he preferred that Adam would sit here as the voting member. But they will both share collective responsibilities, and Adam will carry forward any positions that they worked on. The other members will be Jose Altamirano, Jewel Jones, Sage Mason, Jessica Morris, Ashley Rodriguez, and Valerie Ponce. Yes, Jess?
I think it reflects a lack of courage and a lack of leadership to purposefully disinclude me from this committee and others that I know applied and were not put on the committee. When I front loaded the necessary work with the staff on this work, based on this committee's work in your absence. While we cannot hit the deadline for the election cycle due to a lack of urgency from the chair, we should still pursue this for the betterment of the board and our collective future. The work should not stagnate because of one person, and I'm looking forward to seeing this committee do important work with the same level of urgency and necessary dedication to the work of the board and serving this community. And I find it astonishing that you chose to disinclude me. And I can imagine that others probably feel the same.
Okay, I'd like to speak to that. I gave very direct instructions. There was not a disinclusion. I asked everyone to submit their names and to reach out to me.
And do I not speak with you every Monday of every week, of which I followed up with you on this very point multiple times?
So let me explain very quickly.
Angel was there.
You did not ask to sit on the committee. Now, had you asked and sent me an email or even said, hey, I'd love to serve on this committee, given the work I've done, I would have entertained it. But for the record, you did not do this. Every other person reached out. So
What about David? He's not on the committee. He reached out.
there are other people who reached out that are also not on the committee. I purposefully kept it where it is.
I think this is a personal attack by you. on
No,
me.
this is
I
absolutely
think it
not a
is.
personal attack, and I think to raise that, Isaac, I will get to you. Thank you. Had you sent me an email, had you said.
I email you multiple times every week and we meet every Monday, every week, of which I talked about this with you. Just like you've noted in other areas where you don't feel as chair that you need to provide your availability for calls because you're the chair. I'm the vice chair, and I did this work up front with the staff and this committee in your absence, and you did not include me.
Okay.
That's a mistake.
No, so just respectfully. The weekly call we had on the Wednesday, and I think it's important to be very clear, before, while I was sick, dealing with ailing parents.
I apologize for your family's,
So let me
Health
finish, let me finish.
but that's not relevant to this
It
conversation.
is absolutely relevant, because the Wednesday before executive committee, I asked what was going to be discussed. And we went over the entire agenda. This was added under new business. I reviewed everything. Even after the following Monday, we didn't go into detail about it. And I want to be very clear. I have a lot of people, and I'm not speaking for people here on this committee.
And who else has done the work that I've done?
So let
And
me
makes
finish.
it more
Let-
relevant to that committee than.
So let me finish. You keep interrupting. And again, if we're going to observe the forum, if you had just asked and had a conversation, like I really have done a lot of work on this. I think it is important, given the recommendations and after consulting legal and after speaking to the general counsel, I think for the betterment of this board, that, and when the previous bylaws committee was formed and the work that was done, none of the officers sat on, none of them. And I think for the betterment of this board.
That's not a rule.
It doesn't matter if it's a rule or not.
It's just because
But
you
the
don't
fact
want
is-
me on the committee.
No, you did not ask. Other people asked and they did not get appointed. Right? And it is at the
Astonishing.
discretion. It is at the discretion. Had you
It's the
asked,
discretion of the chair, everyone,
just like any of the other committees, but had
just
you
like
asked.
every other committee.
Oh,
Okay,
I have,
Isaac, yes, your question.
thank you very much. given the point that she's making and the fact that you have the power to appoint her to the committee, you gave a few excuses for why you didn't do it. Is it not possible? Do you really see an issue with putting her on the committee?
I'm willing to have a separate conversation like I did with every other member that's been appointed to this
You're
group.
willing to have a separate conversation with her?
Just like everyone else.
I don't
I'm
agree.
not, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get clear on what you're saying. You're saying you're willing to have a conversation with her like you did every other member about,
who registered there.
and this is in considering her for the committee, or is this just to tell her no in a different way?
No, consideration.
I don't agree to a one-on-one meeting with you, because I don't feel that you have been truthful and honest with me in the past, and I require one additional person to be in the meeting with you and I, if this meeting were to occur.
Is that possible, Sure?
I will take it under consideration. Thank you. And I think that is not absolutely inaccurate at all. I patently, must.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Right? This bylaws committee. What do you anticipate this bylaws committee doing? And the reason I ask that is because I think our bylaws are pretty damn good, right? There's a couple of things that we have to fix in charter, and I think that the executive committee looked at it and made suggestions that were typed up by Jessica and was shown and was given to the board just as a FYI last month, which seemed to address the issues. It seemed like the question was elections and the timing of the elections, because we are going to cycle out. Important membership of this community board will cycle out. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna disappear because I'll still be a public member, but, right? And so the haste, or not the haste, the urgency was about discussing elections, discussing terms, and seeing how we can maneuver. Because if we get appointed, we have it going from now, but our term will end when any executive position on the board is elected. So would like to get an understanding of, is this bylaws committee going to build on the work that this executive committee did? Because per the bylaws, before you have a bylaws committee, the executive can vote. Is it gonna build on that work? Cause that work has been done, except for discussion on the election cycle, the terms, whether it should be 3, 2. I created a mini little spreadsheet for everyone to see what, because this committee here should reflect at least the work that the executive can do, and we should have some kind of a timeline, because I am not comfortable with a committee. I know we have good people on it. That, what's the mandate for this? And what is the timeline for this? Because we have urgency in certain things we're going to be facing. You know what I mean? And so that's my concern.
So I hear you. When I was trying to get to before, Rich Stream, as requested by this body, I went to the general counsel. Also was in communication with the previous general counsel, the NBPO's office. They asked to see everything, the proposal. They then had recommendations and said that this needs to go to city law. They also advised that we need to wait until city law can revert back. City law stated that they will not be able to get back to us until later. So let me finish.
Yeah.
When we did this process with Alex Cohen, he went to Del Bartlett, and then he went to city law. There are recommendations in here that they think may be in conflict.
Which
Not all.
version did you send them? Just a question, because there were 2 versions, one that removed the question that you felt needed to go
It
to
was the
city law.
most recent one that was.
So the one that did not speak at all to the elections being changed, or to the terms, the terms.
The most recent one that was circulated to the full board was what was sent to them.
The reason I'm saying this, right? Is because this executive committee did a lot of work. And we don't necessarily have to change the terms. If the terms is an issue, we don't necessarily have to change the terms. We can change, we don't have to change the elections when they happen, is what I mean. But we can change the time of the terms. The fact of the matter is that neither of us, the three of us, will be able to serve if I decided to run for chair for my third term. I wouldn't do it. Why? Because I can only do a year and a half. My mandate in this community, living here all my life, is to make sure that the next group of leaders come up.
Thank you.
And that we know that they're in good hands. And that's why I have pledged to Angel, although he says nobody will do it, I'm gonna be the first one. I'm gonna come back as a public member, right? Because it's important, and I may be able to serve a role with the new members to make sure. You might be able to help the chairs as a partner, right? But nothing says, every community board does their own bylaws in tandem to make sure that they don't conflict with the charter. We had several issues. City law never weighed in. A suggestion could be that a third term happens, but it only happens for a year. And that an election gets put in at a certain time, right? And then, so let's say 3 terms right now, if we can't change it, but we can look to change the length of time because of the term limits. So if you wanna run for third term, yeah, you can run. But you can only give that year because we have to start preparing. We have an empty bench. We don't have people that I can say off the top of my head, I recommend Lou to be a chair, of the board. And that's what we have to do as leaders. So city law can weigh in. There were questions that when I was the chair for 4 years that we had, and we had issues that had to be addressed. But what we put down on that paper, I didn't see as problematic with that it would cause city law. So my suggestion would be that this committee, this bylaws committee has work to do, and they have to do it quick. But we did the work. And so if there could be a thought as maybe if we don't change the terms because that's maybe problematic, the city law, I don't know, but we can certainly cut down the time. I have in here, there's one community board that put in for an election in 2025, which was Community Board 5. They did a special election because they took into account the term limits.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I made notations. I stopped making notations because I got trigger finger, but Community Board 5 actually wrote it into their bylaws. Other people have about in consultation with the chair, with the vice chair, the executive committee, they form. I mean, there's some community board bylaws that are very hardy and full that we can look at. This is the Bible I have, right? But there are things that we can adopt now. Because we're doing a disservice. I'm not saying we're gonna do it now here in executive, right? Because this has been a very filling evening. But there's a thought that if you can cut down the term for a year and we can all work together to try to fill up that bench. Because who's gonna step up? Because while we have a problem voting people off, we also have a problem getting people to commit. Right? So how are we going to do our chair academy, our secretary academy, our vice chair academy? And the people here at the table are the best ones to help people realize that. And I'm not saying anymore because I just said enough.
Question.
Jose?
So the bylaws committee would start in May. Do we have like a date yet or?
May,
I mean, what are we in April now?
yeah.
What's the next one? I don't know what you're looking about. So am I gonna have a time limit? Like, let's agree to disagree on everything? Not May? Yeah, it's April 17th. I wanted to double check. For a second, I doubted myself. So May, which is the following month. we don't have a date yet, or it will start in May?
Kenneth and the Dan need to pick a day with who the liaison will be. It will either be the lead or Angel, depending on who decides. And they will pick that day, and I've advised them to do it as soon as possible. So,
They could be that way.
And we have to know officially who's on before we can make that, but now we'll reach
But
out.
we are looking, again, so I'll rephrase it, so we are looking to start meeting in May due to
as
the
soon as
urgency.
possible.
There was conversation that could be sooner than that, but, okay, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh,
We're not committing to anything, saying, I think everything's on the table.
Yeah, one of the things that was advised is that they need to make sure, like Neil says, assemble the Bible, as she referred to it. That Bible can be helpful and instrumental, as is the initial draft. And as are all of these conversations. Again, we have a lot of people who are willing and able to do work, and that is great. But again, I think this is, these are things that we're, hold on, Angel, just.
Asher has their hand up.
Oh,
It's on, set it for a while. Giving you a heads up.
oh, I see it.
can't see that.
Okay, Asher, Asher,
Wait, try again.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Ash.
Asher.
He's still muted.
Hi. Sorry, I was
There you
trying
go.
to mute and it was, yeah. I just wanna, just in the whole bylaws committee conversation, I just wanna, bring up the point that I personally, like, I know I volunteered for the committee. I'll be more comfortable, if I'm being honest, because Jessica was the one who wrote up a lot of stuff. I think she would be an asset to that committee. I know it's Xavier's decision. I just wanted to at least put my opinion out there. And I know she has a passion for it, and I think it would be helpful. And also, if not, I don't know if I missed it, because my internet's been going in and out. Why can't executive just do it?
Good question.
Asher, so to answer your question, when we did this previously and given what has been undertaken and what we're looking at, a bylaws committee is most appropriate. And we did this 9 years ago, and they did exhaustive work on it. And I think that it is spreading the wealth. It's also training up new members to learn about the process. And we do have some members on there whose background with codes, formerly serving in their unions. We did it previously, and I think it's an appropriate place to put it, just like including any other. The only standing ones we have are land use and budget, and then this one is second. So.
But I'm still not understanding what's the harm of Jessica not being on the committee when she's the one who has brought this up in the first place. And correct me if I'm wrong. I remember Jessica being the one to take initiative with this, and I just wanna, I know I'm vouching for her, but when we were having questions about stuff in the bylaws, which to be honest, we should have done the work ourselves, she answered them. I think that at least needs to be acknowledged a little bit.
Asher, thank you. Yes, and it was acknowledged last month and thanks was given, absolutely. So again, it's about getting the work done. So Angel,
Man,
So I've given time, nobody else has raised their hand, so I'll say it.
Okay.
Right, and I've had conversations with members before, expressing my frustration, it's like, why don't you guys talk? You're shaking your heads and you're sucking your teeth and you're kicking your feet and you don't say anything. This is wrong, Xavier, I'm sorry. This is wrong. There are a number of things that need to be fixed in the bylaws, not the whole thing. And you haven't taken the time of the initiative to start it before now. And don't reference some random member saying the word bylaws a year ago. And me saying I disagree as the reason why you didn't, start up that work. You didn't do it. And then Jessica goes and starts that work, and this committee, I'll repeat what I said last month, this committee, 2 months in a row, engaged this conversation. And you are again attempting to kick it down the road. Not only that, Xavier, I'm sorry, but you're acting in bad faith. You're acting in bad faith because you're kicking the can down the road. You're enabling a bylaws committee without a mandate, without a clear mandate. Hey, you guys are gonna focus on 1, 2, 3. No, it's just the whole thing. And then I'll add, Why these people? Because they volunteered? They've been on the board less than a year and a half? They don't even know how the board functions, much less how it should. Why not have people that have been here, that can look to their experience and say, well, you know what? Thank you for your effort 9 years ago, but there's a T that needs to be crossed, there's an I that needs to be dotted. This actually could be a little cleaner, this is now post-pandemic, maybe the bottle should reflect the new reality. No, someone that just got here last year. I meant no shade on them, what do they know? What do they know? They don't even know how to make a motion yet. And they're gonna rewrite the constitution of the bylaws, I mean, of the board? There's members on this committee that do not understand the concept that our bylaws are subject to the city charter and are subject to the New York State Constitution. But we're gonna put brand new members on it? And now this is the third time you've mentioned Khalid, liaison for this committee. There is no way I'm gonna put Khalid on that. There's no way. Because you know what'll happen? It'll be a bunch of people here that don't know everything they need to know, having a conversation without clear direction. And it'll be a wasted effort. I've been at this table when we've done this before. I've wasted people's effort and gotten nowhere. That's not right. If you have a clear vision for what it's supposed to do, then say so. You haven't. Jessica put it forward, she and I'll say that for the third month in a row, she and I worked on it. So it's not just her work, it's my work too. And none of these members know more about this stuff than I do. And that just gets shunted aside to have this bylaws committee of random people on the board. Come on. Xavier, I said it to you last month, I'm like, it's not right. It's not right. And I said it as nicely as I could. It's not right. It's not, you're not acting in good faith. I'm sorry. The work was put before the body, was written and presented. And met last month initially with hostility because there was a suggestion that something was being rushed. It took half an hour to explain, no rush. It's just conversation. Here, you take it away. You know, whatever, there's no vote, it's just for you to read it. And here we are a month later, and again, kick the can, it's not right. It's not right, and yes, Jessica should be on it, Jessica should be leading it. No shit on them, I love them. But Jessica's the one that put in the time? Jessica's the one that typed it up, and she's not on it? She's showing the initiative, you need to reward initiative. Reward initiative. Not the other way around. So yeah, members leave because they get overwhelmed because of when they need to show up, it's too many meetings. Members also leave because their time's wasted.
Thank you.
Okay? That entire bylaws committee is not here anymore. Alex is long gone. Why? Because his time was being wasted. No, sir. You know what I mean? I'm like, you have to respect people's time and you have to celebrate when people put in the effort. We have chairs that don't write letters. How many pages is that bylaws revision? We have chairs that don't write minutes, that don't write motions. And she writes a whole thing and it's not entertained. You should be celebrating it, Xavier. You should be celebrating it. You should be elevating this kind of work as an example to the rest of the membership. That you appreciate and respect and reward hard work instead of the opposite. Some randos on the, come on. Come on. You think that's motivating to people that want to do hard work? It isn't. I've told you time and again, and I know you guys are sick of me. I know you're tired of me, but I'm very frustrated. I could do a lot more work than this. This is silly. I'm like, come on. Instead of focusing on the real stuff, you're not talking about stuff, this discovery reform stuff, a year and a half. They're voting on it, this governor's doing God knows what. We didn't do it. We could have been done it. Could have been done it. Weighing in on significant stuff that's going on. Are we asking for those trash containers? No. Full of rats. And we're not being proactive. And you know what? Give me the damn containers, the hell with the parking. I wanna save my constituency from being bitten up by rats. I'm like, come on, like, Xavier, you gotta do better than that, buddy. You have to. And if you wanna engage the conversation, then do so. But you haven't previously for whatever reason. Then do so. You know what? I looked at it. And if you're gonna reference the general counsel, and if you're gonna reference city law, Xavier, you have to put it in writing. And you have to provide back what the response was in writing, in fairness to everyone. Because otherwise, whether you're 1,000% right, it's hearsay. Someone could cast doubt on what you're reporting back. If you're putting in the effort, then you don't deserve that. But if you give it, here it is. I reached out, I said I would reach out, I reached out, I got an answer back, here's the answer I got. But until then, it's hearsay. And I defend the body more than anyone. I defend community boards more than anyone. But this kind of stuff is what turns people off of boards. It's procedure, confusion, and nothing, no reward for the effort, no actual, proactive act. Nah, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You should work to better the board, to support your members and support your staff. We'll support you too. But this kind of stuff, you shouldn't do, Xavier. You shouldn't. I'm pleading with you, bro. 3 months in a row with this.
And
In
nobody
a
else
row,
is gonna
like
say
the
anything.
2 months ago, you weren't here, you were not available. Okay. When Nelson was unavailable, you sat in. And what did we do? We had your back. You ran the meetings and it was smooth. Why? Because we had your back. Did Nelson come back and flush your work? No.
Never.
No, it was always Xavier. You missed one meeting. Jessica goes and does some work that you should have done, dude. You should have done it. You're the chair. She does it, gives you gold. At the end of the day, it's your name on the thing,
Take credit.
right? It's your name. I get to brag about the neighborhood plan. I didn't write that damn thing. But my name's on it. Come on, you gotta be better than this, Xavier. You have to. You have to respect the work, you have to defend the work. And just saying thank you when you're not supporting it, I'm sorry, but it isn't enough. You have to prove that you're thankful for it by supporting it. Now, if you read it and you disagree with this line, then so be it. If there's edits, then so be it. If there's other suggestions, then so be it. But kicking the can down the road without actually, meeting it. Have you had a conversation with Jessica about the details of that proposal?
No.
Last month it was too fast. It's been 30 days. Have you talked to her about that? Come on, dude. Play fair. She'll do the work. I had one conversation with Jessica. One. Boom, done. You would have talked to her. Like. You guys gotta speak up, man.
Yeah, unbelievable, you guys.
We were letting him talk.
Sorry, wait, let me wait till I'm called.
I think he called on you right now. Go ahead. Ash.
Okay, sorry. If it's a matter of space and if there's too many people on the committee, I'm willing to give up my spot for Jessica.
I appreciate that, but I don't
Thank you,
necessarily do
Ashley.
Asher. Thank you.
Yes, Jose.
Unfortunately, I've missed the last executive, had some conflicts. But from what I saw online on the playback, which is it's really fun, to see it from that perspective, I mean, not what's happening. We do have to take into consideration, and I spoke to Vivian previously, that if the work was done, I mean, at the very minimum, I do believe that Jessica should be on that committee. And I hear that they will have a conversation, third person or whoever. But I do wanna reflect that, even though I wasn't present for the last two bits of committees. Luckily, I did come today to make sure that, I do look forward, I am on the bylaws committee. I do look forward to making sure that not just what was addressed in the document, but other things that I think that should be addressed. Should also be there as well, and I did want it to be on the record of what those things should be. I don't think anyone should run for a leadership position if they haven't been here at least one full term. I don't think anyone should be on land use if they haven't served full term meaning 2 years. I've seen at least a few different occasions here where people join our community board and they run to land use. And as soon as their project is passed, they escape from the community board. And I think, we need to be very cautious of that because then we're being used and we're not here to be used. We're here for the community. I think these are things, I'm not sure if it's in that document, because again, I wasn't there, and I've read through it, but it was brief. It was an extensive document. But those are things that I believe, I think the vice chair position should be ironed out. I think you guys touched on that. I also feel that there should be and this I spoke to Xavier about, I think chairs of committees should have a clear say on who their vice chair is in that committee. Not just, and currently, luckily, between Xavier Nelson and everyone else, they have been very forthcoming in those conversations. But that doesn't mean that someone comes and just appoints whoever they feel like doing, right? Because that's also can happen. I think the whole point of the bylaws is to make sure that there are rules for things that shouldn't happen and don't happen and how they happen. That's all.
Again, I mean, I'll just say as co-chair of that committee that I would value Jessica being on there, and so, I don't decide who's on there, I said I could work with anyone, but I think she'd be an asset, so, I mean, it's your call. I'm not gonna get involved in, this, that, why things are happening, I trust that everything's being done for reasons, the right reasons, but I think I think she'd be an asset to any committee, so I think she'd be an asset on the committee, so.
Anyone else?
So I just want, like, again, when I first brought my comment up, the document that was done, that was with the input of the executive committees, right? That had easy changes and initial changes, is some of that's going to be enacted. Or at least thought about, or are we waiting for the committee to have to weigh in on everything? Because as a person who's cycling off, to me, that's problematic, right? There are certain things there that are easy fixes that we can do. If there's a discussion about the terms, and if there's a discussion about when an election should happen, I get that. If you wanna have that, and that discussion shouldn't be more than one meeting, honestly, because in June, we go off. I would hate to think that in September, right, we come back and an elections committee is being convened for an election that people may not be able to put in their name. One, because they may not be able to serve the full term, or two, people that are inexperienced may want to become chair and we don't have like something already addressed. So that's why I asked about a timeline. What is it that the committee is to do? And what about some of the easy changes that the executive committee and Jessica put in that we might be able to adopt and take that off the plate of the committee? You know what I mean? Because depending on how this gets handled and how, and I'll say it, it just looks like self-interest. And I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking in general, that for the board, it's better to just lag so that the board can continue in a certain way, and it doesn't have interest in elevating its young leadership because we're just stuck, right, like in neutral. So the bylaws, if we consider some changes now that are easy fixes, and I don't mean today's meeting, because I think everyone's had enough of this meeting right now. But if there are things that can be adopted and enacted, that in reality, it's just formality, that may be something, you can reimagine the bylaws multiple times, different sections. This was amended on this date, this was amended on this date. But I am really concerned about the elections, the fact that we have an empty bench. The fact that if I put my head right now, and I've been doing it, and say, who, if I was the nominating committee, who would I go to and say, have you thought about running? Right now, there's a lack of clarity there. And we won't be able to do what our community expects of us if we don't move along on some of the easy fixes, get that done, and then the other fixes should take a month, because listen, my name is on those bylaws right now. I was on 2 bylaws committees, right? And I think it's a beautiful document. Can there be more clarity? Can there be more shaping? Can there be? Absolutely. I've read other stuff in here that's great, that could be adopted. But the basic stuff, we can handle. Because if we can't handle amending simple things in the bylaws, then people are gonna call into question all the other decisions that we do. You know what I mean? And so, we wanna make sure that the community understands that we're trying to do the best we can, both internally and externally. And I'm not trying to talk against the bylaws committee. I'm not trying to do that, but there are certain things that can get done, in my opinion, only, and I'm just saying that.
Yes, Michelle.
I think we had agreed that, I think it was called like the low hanging fruit, that we could vote on those things. And, one of what was like a land use meeting that really hadn't,
The special meeting.
the special meetings that hadn't really occurred for a while, to just stop them. And other things that were just very, very minor. And I think that that would be a healthy way to say that we are uplifting this new committee that is being formed. Either that has already been formed, and there's gonna be new ones that is being co-chaired by Adam and Kenneth. And possibly tri-chaired, I don't know. Just so that it is in good faith that we are moving forward.
Okay, so a couple of things I'd like to address. It was sent to legal did respond back and said they would refer back to us, but they could not get to it by this meeting. I just want to be clear, and I do have that in writing, thank you, and I would be pleased to share that response, but
I'm sorry, what specifically was sent?
they wanted to see the current bylaws and the proposed changes to be able to speak on it fully. That was their request, so I gave that the documents. Again, just like when proposals were done, when Alex went through that process and Nilsa was on it, they would send the proposals. Adele Bartlett would advise on certain things where she felt comfortable, and other things that elevated beyond her expertise or question would go to city law. Again, this is about just protecting this body. There's nothing wrong with protecting this body. To the question of Michelle, so I want to speak on that. So I have done exactly that. The low hanging fruit, which we said we could possibly address. One of the issues too is they wanted to know about being in alignment with the city charter attendance. So that was sent over, and what our current version, this version. So that's something we could adopt. The question was, when does that start? Is it a September start date? Is it a sliding 6-month scale? Is it the calendar year? So that was an example, and they said they would speak on that, but they would get back to us as soon as they could, but they do with all the agencies' requests. But I'm pleased if people want to vote on that. Also asked them about being present and whether an excuse would not be counted against, as an example. The executive committee appointing the special committee, I think is a low hanging fruit, because for the removal of board members. That was one I, said to your asking, like, that's something we could even feel comfortable adopting tonight.
I'm sorry, which one?
The special committee to remove members, because executive committee has been serving that function.
Oh, instead of the.
On the removal process, section 1B1A, which is be permitted to present witnesses and other evidence. And 4, the executive committee shall appoint itself for a special committee no less than 3, no more than 7 members to make a recommendation to full board to remove such a member. Those 2 items were struck. That's something, to Michelle's point, and Nils, is there something we could do to support right there? The others, having looked at this. The additional. Where is it? Removal of the additional committee of land use is an easy low hanging fruit as well. But again, just as a conversation. So. But as a mandate, it was to take the work that had been done. Examine what other boards here in this borough have done as well as others. And see what would be a good work response to this. So that was the mandate. Just. Some.
I understand everything you're saying. Our bylaws were written very thoroughly with some not aligning with the charter by Alex and others on that committee. And so while I understand that there are certain things you should check. There are a lot of things. The charter does not mandate how we write our bylaws. But the bylaws have to be written to be compliant with the charter. And that's why each board's bylaws are different, because it allows the flexibility of each board to write its bylaws in a way that fulfills what they need to do in tandem with the charter. So easy fixes include the language that matches the charter. I'm concerned, and I want my concern on the record. I'm concerned about us having an empty bench, the elections process, when it's going to happen, because this community, and I have to say it, this is my community. I am very, very passionate about my community. I was born and bred here. I run buildings here. My kids went to school here, both public. And I want this board to have the right leader at the helm when the existing leadership is not here. And if we need to pare down the term, right, so that we're still compliant with our current bylaws, where it says 3 terms, but we can still use those additional 6 months, and within that year, help new leaders emerge, where a real nominating committee actually assesses the board members here and actually makes suggestions as who and recommendations as to who they think, as opposed to just letting people volunteer, right? Because sometimes that doesn't work. I am concerned, and I want it on the record, that I do not want, and I do not want to see this bylaws committee gets so mired down by relations, by personalities and people's jobs and that they weigh in and that they know better and this person is discussing this with this and that, and then at the end of the year, we have nothing. Because I've seen it, I've been on this board too long, that's why I'm one of the first ones cycling off.
When do you take off?
Good for you.
No,
The next, right,
next year or this year?
in 2027.
Oh, 27.
Yeah. Right, but if I get appointed, no, but if I don't, I'm still gonna be the lecturer.
Yeah, but you gotta.
But please, let's be clear. There's a lot of more low hanging, there's a lot more there that can be adopted, and it's not, you know, maybe a suggestion would be that we all go back to the document. And we highlight what we think. Right, because I don't have the document in front of me, right? And then maybe this is a conversation that we can have, but there's a lot more that can be adopted there. And, you know, the mandate about the attendance and all that, you know, it would be good to see exactly what it is, because people are gonna say, oh, well, what about changing this? And what about changing this? And what about changing this? And before you know it, things are being changed that are not addressing what our immediate issue is. And that's my concern.
And I agree with your concern, but I mean, considering that one of the chairs is here and Kenneth Crouch, who sat on my public safety, it is a pleasure to work with. Kenneth, very intelligent, very articulate, very knowledgeable. I'm sure that you can focus this bylaw committees to, it doesn't have to work where you work 6 months and then you give a final product. You can start working on first month and we're gonna hit these 10 things, take them to full board, get them
That's
passed.
what I wanna say.
And then next June, focus on the next 10 things, like honestly, obviously, I'm not chair of that committee, but that would be my suggestion to the co-chairs where, you know, cause we can do this little exercise all day long, right? You know, we were gonna have a short meeting and it's 9:30 here. So obviously, we're all interested to make sure that these bylaws, which are gonna outlive us, make sure that our community is protected, but I think since the chairs will be the ones leading this, it's very easy for them to kind of formulate it in that way where I can hit this, deal with elections and deal with people getting turned out and deal with all these things as a necessity. And then keep moving on to things that are less of a necessity, and you can have the committee continue to work. At least that would be my suggestion.
And I think that's it. Oh, I'll just put it in, you know, because Adam and Kenneth are really competent individuals. And as a team, you'll get it done.
Oh, I don't have any worries about the co-chairs, it's everything else. There's a easy way to get mired into things if you don't stay the course. So that's why, you know, it has to be clear, we discussed and we saw the pieces we saw. We had a piece written up, it seemed to address a lot of the major concerns. And so if it's gonna go further, then that should, as far as I'm concerned, when the committee sees that, like, that could be their first suggestions, right? There doesn't have to be a rewriting of the bylaws, and that's what I'm not hearing. I'm not hearing the focus. And maybe once the bylaws is formed, there'll be more of a focus, because I know for the both committees that I worked on, there was really tight focuses on what we were doing, because it's a living document and things change.
Yeah, just really quick, I think that the edited document reflects the low hanging fruit outside of the adjustment of the officer and appointment cycles. And to your point, Jose, I think it's true, like, I agree that the chairs are gonna do a great job. The problem with something that we hope to address, hopefully in your guys' committee, that the problem is that the chair, as one person, has the ability to put things on the agenda, to change the course of the agenda, to set the you know, what the committee is tasked at doing. You know, the amount of control that one person has over not only this process, but this, like, how committees are run, how anything is done in the board is a problem. And I hope that we get a chance to address that in the bylaws.
Thank you. I have every faith in both their leadership. to be able to expedite the foundational work that began, and again, I sincerely say thank you. They can begin. Nelson, would you be so kind as to share your research Bible as well from all?
Yeah, I can give them copies of all 12 of the Bibles that I have here. Actually, I can hand you the Bibles now.
I'll take it. We're walking.
Alright.
We doing new business?
Yes,
We
please.
have new business.
It's gonna be quick.
Go ahead.
Yes, please. So they were already given a letter, I believe, last year. But CBD is Civita, they were, we, sorry. We already gave them a letter, so they came back again, last month, they presented to their, project, finishing up 107 and, Esplanade all the way to 114, 16. Sorry, I don't remember 100%. But we, there was some language to be changed only, that's it, there was just like 2-3 words that they needed to change. And we didn't do, a motion while it was in our meeting, so that's why it was brought here. No, we, they needed to change some of the word. But they needed to give it to us, and they wanted to actually present.
Oh, they didn't give us the actual letter.
Ocean. Anything to fix that Esplanade.
Question.
Well,
It's-
if you want to
it's
make a
supporting
motion
the
to
committees.
support.
And you could be, yeah.
Thank you. Motion to support. the
Second.
committee's recommendation.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Anything to fix that
Opposed,
Esplanade.
abstentions.
Okay.
No.
Call the roll.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they were.
Thank you, guys.
Jose Altamirano,
Now I can say present?
Dan Reham, Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Jessica Elliott, Nelson Rama,
Present.
David Santiago, Isaac Scott, Emily Johnson, Michelle Walter Clement.
Present.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Lisa, let me show you something.
Let me show you.